Welcome to my humble abode. I'm Yorkie the Tail Spinner, and this is Tales Over Coffee, the channel where we start the day with a narrative tale and a cup of coffee in the hope of welcoming a blessed day. We return now to the life and suffering of Sir Brante, Sir Yorkie Brante specifically, as we approach adolescence. We've seen childhood's end. We know we're a commoner. But we're just skipping through to where we were. And we go into adolescence, the end of the 8th year.
I was growing up fast. The school, the streets, and the whole wide world awaited me beyond the gate of my parents' house.
Adolescence. You've lived in this world for 8 years now. As you grow older, life grows more complex. The world of your childhood is limited to your house and family, but now that realm is expanding. It also includes your neighborhood, nearby houses, streets of the ancient city of Anisot. The question looms over you, growing more pressing with each passing year. What will your place in this vast outside world be? Few people in the blessed Arcadian Empire trouble themselves with this question. It is not within a man or woman's power to choose. Their destiny is predetermined by their birth and those who bore them. And yet, your particular birth has granted you a chance. Father is a man of nobility, a worthy example in matters of duty and honor. Mother is a commoner of lowly estate, humility and patience made flesh. Your sky is ablaze day and night with the light of the shining pillar, the beacon of the clergy. The back bears the mark of the lash. Will you accept the drudgery and suffering that is the lot of the low-born for your entire life? Or will you follow in the footsteps of your father and your father's father and fight for the right to serve the empire as a noble of the mantle? Perhaps, will you follow the twin God's word or spiritual guidance to us? The answer lies out there in the vast, terrifying world, what awaits you beyond the walls of your home. I will try and read this first person as I am playing the part of Sir Yorkie Brante. Chapter 2, Adolescence. Yes. Events that can happen, glorious secret, if our ingenuity is greater than equal to 4. Stefan's disgrace, if our ability greater than equal to 4. Blood tide. When your blood tide is participating in the ritual nobleman's sacrament. Or Gregor Brante greater than equal to 2. Gregor, our grandfather, is not going to like us, so that's not going to happen, and we didn't do nobleman's sacrament. Nathan's admonition. Brother Nathan Brante receives a spiritual admonition from me. Spirituality greater than equal to 1. These are new statistics. Even in the personal life of the hero, events in the personal life of the hero can happen. Mass of the heart. Meet a girl. I will say that the fact that it enforces force you to be straight maybe fits in with the society, so I don't mind that much, but it's questionable. Experience a revelation by the sacred silver tree. An epiphany, experience revelation. The fire saved, willpower greater than 4, saves to fire. Alright. Person qualities at this age, they determine which choices you may take. Nobility 0, go up to 10. Unprincipled right now. Ingenuity 0, slow. Spirituality 0, mundane. Your inner strength and number of lesser deaths. Willpower 5, deaths died once. Sections that can open in this chapter. All that open. Relations, province, and map. If we look at relations, I have no relations yet. Province, map of the empire, and we are in, where are we? And he's up down here. province. Well, that's the empire and province. Overseer is Archduke Milanides. Patriarch is Photis. Power of -4. Current balance power in Magra. Between old nobility in power and reign of terror. They've taken that from France. The reign of terror, if you don't know, was when the nobility were overthrown in France at the end of the 18th century. The end of the 17th? It was the end of the 18th. It must have been the end of the 17th. It was after the American War of Independence, which was... No, that's right, it was the end of the 18th, my mistake. That was the 1700s. Alright. And the leader of the revolt, or the main figure therein, Robespierre, started cutting off the head of everyone suspected to be a traitor. Church, -4, follow the new faith, old faith, schism, new faith, follow the old faith. Wealth of Magra, currently 6 security. Order is at peace. Alright. Continue. $11.26. Boy down the street. The family expects more and more of you as you grow up. The teachers and tutors hired by your father keep you on those toes at all time. Your life in these days is dedicated to studying for the future and your future and future of the Brante family. Your younger brother Nathan keeps growing up too. He can hold a conversation now. You never refuse him when he comes to play, provided you have a bit of free time between your demanding lessons. It is a rainy day. Father and mother have gone to a ball and they left Nathan in your care. You lose track of the time over the books in the sitting room when Nathan goes off alone to splash in the creek. Soon you hear his voice begging you to come outside. He's on the porch, sobbing, all covered in dirt. I walk up to him as he continues to fall. So it's all that kid. He pushed me into the ditch and called me names. He said I was a fancy pants fool. I said I'd call my brother. He's still there. You have to go and punish him, Yorkie. Nathan points at a lopsided wooden house further down the street where the poorer artisans live. I see 2 boys lingering there on the porch. They are clearly both commoners, but far from poor. One of them is almost as tall as Nathan and frowns in a funny way, just like him. The other looks older, almost my age. He's more broad-shouldered and taller. His name is Thomas. Heard it before. There, Yorkie, that's him. Nathan points to the younger boy and hides behind your back. Thomas grins and rolls up his sleeves to reveal strong forearms. He must have been helping his father with manual labour for quite some time. Listen up, rich boys, says Thomas. We don't give a damn about you or your friendship. We don't let nobody call our home a stinking rat hole. Little brother earns his dive. Maybe next time he'll dress normal and stop picking fights with people who can throw him in the mud. My hands clench into fists before I react. Nathan called them names first, no wonder they did the same. If that's true. That's how it goes. Pushing your brother into a ditch is too much. Thomas stands tall and defiant. He sees no threat in you. In me. I am about to get ready for a fight when I feel a tug at my sleeve. I turn my head to see Nathan, the one who started the whole mess. I could try to give him a beating. I'd say my brother is to blame. It's all peaceful. Yes, I want to listen to my brother first. I don't want to act on hearsay, on information that may not even be real. Nathan keeps tugging on my sleeve, harder and harder, until finally I turn around and look at him. Don't fight him, please, look, he's huge. Let's go home, who cares about them? You're all sweaty. Are you going to listen to your little brother and walk away like a coward? All you rich boys are chickens. You do nothing but squawk, but when push comes to shove, you run home to Mum. Now he's done it, the patience has run out. I swing at Thomas and he jumps back, surprised by my assault. It takes him a moment to compose himself, but now he's ready. His fists cover his face, and he attacks with a quick jab. Now it is my turn to take a step backward. We start trading blows, puffing and puffing with rage. The younger brothers gawk in awe at the sight. Thomas does not resort to fancy moves, dirty tricks, or stupid taunts. He displays nothing but skill earned in many a street fight. And his heavy fists aim at my head. I keep dodging him again and again, trying to reach him. He takes a couple of glancing blows, but easily shakes them off. What a bruiser. Starts swinging my fist with greater and greater fury. My heart is pounding like a hammer. I see nothing but a foe in front of me. How much longer will this take? I'm worn out. My breath grows ragged and my muscles grow heavy, but there is no way I can give up now. Nathan is watching me. Desperate and out of options, I swing and punch Thomas square in the nose and immediately let his fist smack me in the temple. The blow rings through my head like a bell and blinds me for a moment. The world swims before my eyes. I clutch at my head to get my bearings. Thomas is standing in front of me, blood dripping from his nose. I no longer want to fight us out, and it seems my opponent would rather end it too. We keep standing there, eyeing each other angrily. Then suddenly I hear an angry shout right next to me. An enraged man in a craftsman's apron is shaking his fist. Thomas' face contorts in terror right away. My father, run, he yells. The punishment for fighting is flogging, and a mere prospect that makes me run like the wind. Thomas sprints in front of me. I dash across the rotten wooden planks of the back alley, up and over a lopsided fence, across a giant puddle in one leap, and then forward into the tall grass. I hide there and stay quiet. I hear no sounds of pursuit. I exchange glances with Thomas and start laughing. His laughter is loud and infectious, but soon he cuts it short and grows sadder. I'm gonna get flogged anyway, he says. My dad's always quick to give me a beating, and then he'll start nagging me about the lots and the prayers for days, like he always does. Why do I always get myself mixed up in this stuff? But fighting's the only way to prove you're worth anything, right? The adults didn't see us fighting, I tell him. So all we have to do now is convince them we weren't. Nosebleeds happen, right? Mother gets nosebleeds all the time. Well, we could try it, he says. Let's hope our little brothers don't tell on us. I'll talk to mine. There's a scratch on your head. Don't let them see it. Good thing I didn't hit you in the face. There, good as new. I assure him that Nathan will never tell, and in return, I'll make sure he behaves himself. So he won't get tossed into a ditch again. With that, I shake hands with Thomas. His handshake is as strong as I would expect based on his fists. I make my way out of the tall grass. I need to leave before Thomas's father goes to my family and complains about me breaking my lot. I come to a realization on the way back. I had no idea the place where I was hiding even existed, and it wasn't too far from home. Thomas smiles in excitement when he hears this. Oh, I know lots of places like that, he says. I'll tell you what, if we get out of this mess today, I'll show you the way to the old fortress wall. It's a perfect place to build your own fort. I dragged a bunch of wooden planks there. Too bad it's no fun to build all alone. My brother never helps, he just gets in the way. I emerge from the muddy back alleys, united by a secret that only the two of us know. Seems I've made a friend today. Still at indifference, but we have gained +1 relations. I would have rather not fought, but in this situation I'm a child. I'm going to act like a child. Unity increased. We're at peace. Getting closer to harmony though. Willpower increased by 10, full of power. Met Thomas, year 1126. Made a friend, a boy named Thomas. (1127), 9 years old. Riders on the road. It is blistering hot today, even for the sun-parched land of Magra. As soon as I'm done with my studies, I dash outdoors and out of the stuffy room. I and Thomas roll up our shirt sleeves, but it barely helps. I would gladly go shirtless had I only been in the company of only of other boys. But there are 3 girls in the yard today. They're doing the laundry in a big washtub, whispering and giggling. I'd glad to keep watching one of them at work. She has big eyes of deep blue, her dark hair is braided, and her plain grey dress is mended and patched all over. Her name is Sophia. She throws her head back a little when she laughs. The rays of the sun are reflected in her eyes. I, Thomas, and the other boys keep telling silly stories, anything to make her laugh. You sure love telling tales, Yorkie, she says. Oh, I remember this one time. But then Sophia hears a voice calling her home. She nods to you and runs across the street, smiling. Her light steps carry her forward, but her eyes are looking elsewhere. Then a stone on the road catches her foot. She stumbles and falls flat into the dust. The street starts shaking from the thundering of hooves. Riders appear on the road from around the corner. They bear a coat of arms I recognise right away, a sable serpent blade upon a field of green. It using heraldic colours there. Sable is black, vert is green. It symbolises Milanidas dynasty, the family of our province's archduke. The horses dash forward. A lost wooden toy on the road cracks under their hooves. They will not slow down. They are the nobles, and the rest must make way for them. The fire is in their way. Just now, starting to get back to her feet. Her mother is crying for her desperately from behind the fence door. I freeze in terror. The riders surely see the girl, or are they going to stop, or are they going to trample her? In only a few moments, the beautiful girl will be toppled, trampled and crushed. There is no choice here. There is no choice at all. I must shield her, whatever it costs. You protect others. That's what you do. I throw myself blindly into the road, swinging my arms violently. Dazed by the sound of thundering hooves, I can see nothing in the dust. For a brief moment, the horses slow down just long enough for Sophia to get back on her feet and flee to the roadside. Then the riders dig their spurs in. Dozens of hooves knock me off my feet and roll across my body. My bones crack, break, and crumble. My ears are ripped apart by the thundering rhythm of the ride. My innards are pulverized. The last thing I remember is the sound of my own skull caving in. Second death. There was no option. Sometimes you must embrace your own death to save another. It simply is. Impenetrable darkness surrounds me. I stand alone, there to my very essence. It paralyzes me. I have an urge to cover myself, to hide. No one should see me so vulnerable. But I cannot conceal the truth in this place. I am bathed in an unbearably bright light. It has no hint of warmth in it. It is blinding. It leaves no shadows in the entire world. It is the light of the shining pillar itself. In this radiance I can clearly see all my thoughts and doubts, my errors and transgressions, the contradictions that have permeated me since birth. They cover me from head to toe like rough grey tatters. They melt away in this light, naked. I feel liberated and whole. It is as though all the wounds and cracks in my soul have been healed, making it the way it should be. It is as though the scales have fallen from my eyes. I see the true shapes of things now. These are the laws by which the world abides, the grand design that moves life itself. I tread a path that is barely visible in the blinding light, giving shape to everything. In this light, I see the infinite complexity of the world, from the tiniest leaf to the enormity of the empire. And this world maintains its balance by virtue of the law that was embedded in it during the act of creation. Ahead of me, 2 figures are waiting on the path. They are gigantic, many times taller than a man. The elder holds a lash, the younger a sword. The younger gazes at me sternly, coldly. I kneel obediently before him and lower my head. The god raises his sword above you. This is divine retribution. There is no law without it, nor can there be. Every action has consequences. This is what shapes the world. making its very existence possible. In this moment, beneath the gaze of the merciless God, I comprehend the law that binds the entire world together. Which manifestation of the law will I live by? Certainly not the Empire, the Lot, or even the family. These are symbols of authority, and authority has committed crimes against many. The cause? Quite possible. It is time to influence the great law and the world, to see it fairer. Myself, yes, but as I've just shown, there are many things that are greater. Many times you must be willing to sacrifice yourself. Or against the law. No, I'm not against the gods. We work within, and we meld, and we change. I cannot believe that what is being preached is the will of the gods. Blade flashes. The youngest sword slices through the air above my head. You do not yet deserve your final punishment. The law demands that you continue your life. My form has not been completely destroyed, nor has that of the world. The younger extends his gigantic hand and shows me the way. I must proceed. The path leads to the top of the crown of the silver tree, spread wide in a white gleam. The branches are closed now. It is time to descend. I am drawn downward into the darkness. The shadows that had disappeared in the blinding glow creep around me and envelop me. This is to be expected, by the purity and clarity of spirit. They're still with me. Something is forcing my throat open. It scratches me on the inside. My soul is filled with struggle again, and the contradictions from which the fabric of this world and I, myself, are woven. The divine light that gave me clarity is fading away with each passing moment. I have to open my eyes. Above me is the dark ceiling of the crypt. I am reborn. Then I can feel again. I sense my body, head, arms, and legs. The light fades around me, obedient before a will that is stronger than me. I return to the world. Such is the law of the twins. I will return to this world until the time of my true death, and in this world I will have a body with which to feel pain and suffering and pleasure. I smell a sickly moist odour. I open my eyes and see the figures of mother and father in the gloom of the family crypt, speaking to each other quietly. They stop as soon as they hear me gasp. Mother runs to me and locks me in an embrace as father wraps me in his cloak. Neither of them says a word as they lead me out of the surface and back home. You've met a terrible end, my son, says my father. You were trampled by those horses. Don't be so careless ever again. The lives you were granted by the twin gods are not to be wasted so recklessly. It was not reckless, father. I was saving someone. I would be punished for this. You will be punished for this, but the twins have already meted out their punishment. I tremble. My steps unsteady as I learn how to move again. My body is eerily smooth, fresh and renewed. Even the recent scars and scratches are all gone. And there is a mark of something new on it. A fresh black mark, a reminder of my lesser death beneath those hooves. Remember that by the twins' mercy, we are all given enough time in this world, says Mother. Should you die before your time, you will be brought back by their grace. For 3 times they will rescue you from a terrible fate. The 4th death is true and final for all. Every loss of a life we were granted at our birth is a heavy blow to us. But the gods told us not to mourn a lesser death, and so we will humbly accept this and move on. Your body has been reborn anew, with all your wounds healed. Do not mourn your loss of life, my son. But thank the twin gods for their justice. Do not speak of this, and do not ever play up by the road again if you wish to keep on living. I cautiously go back outside the next day. Children from the neighbourhood surround me. They all saw me get trampled, and now they all ask the same question: what was it like to die? Thomas rescues me from their pestering. He pushes the motley crew aside, hugs me, and pats me on the back. Look at you, buddy, he says. You gave an entire life to keep a girl safe. Then I see Sophia. She is standing nearby, slyly working up the courage to walk over to me. Soon, she finally approaches me and begins speaking rapidly. Yorkie, why did you... she gasps. Why did you throw yourself in front of those horses? My life isn't worth any more than yours, so why did you think that? You weren't supposed to die there. It was all those riders' fault. They deserve to die, not you. Her voice raises to a shriek. He suddenly stops and runs back home. I stay where I am, watching her run, the golden rays of sun dancing on her braided hair. And so, it has gone up. Humble girl from a poor, low-born family living on the same street. Yes. Nobility is up to 1. Still unprincipled. Ingenuity up by 1. Spirituality up by 1. Willpower reduced, but still at 10. And I have died twice. Faya said the save event has happened. Save the local girl named Sophia from lesser deaths. (1128), 10 years old. Year 1128, fall, soil and gunpowder. Sophia disappeared after the terrible incident with the horses. Her friends gossiped that her parents sent her off to serve a rich noble dynasty. We haven't seen each other since that day, but I still remember Sophia's eyes, the sunlight shining in them, but no matter what, life goes on. I'm 10 years old now. My studies continue and I am learning more about the land I live in. Anizort is an ancient city in an imperial province by the name of Magra. All soil in Magra was turned to ash eons ago, scorched by magic during the rebellion of the Duke Jar Milanidas. The magical arts are all but gone now, but the scorched earth has remained barren and infertile ever since. Since then, the entire province has lain barren, tormented by cold and scorching winds in equal measure, with few precious plants taking root on their own. All fertile land in Magra is bought elsewhere and brought here by an endless caravan of carts and carriages. To pay for food and soil, the citizens of Magra became skilled in many trades, primarily mining and digging for metals and stone. Last fall, there was an explosion just outside the city, followed by clouds of thick smoke. The first such incident frightened the citizens, but then explosions and smoke became an everyday occurrence. Soon everyone grew used to it. Father explains that the miners are now using a new invention called gunpowder. It makes it easier for them to reach the precious stones and metals buried deep within the earth. Then one day a thunderous explosion rocks the city and black billowing smoke covers the houses. People are stuck in their homes, all windows tightly shut, the air is impossible to breathe. Nathan coughs all the time. Gloria and I cough only when nobody is watching. If Mother hears it, she'll make me inhale those hot herbal vapors just like Nathan. It takes 2 days for the black smoke to disperse. People pour out onto the street to meet their friends. Thomas is eager to share everything he knows about the incidents with me. They took lots of burnt up people to the city temple. Mum told me, he says, she was helping the healers. There are many rumours. Some claim it was the work of a beast stirred from its slumber, while others say it's the surviving witches that continue to threaten the order of the Empire with their cursed powers. But as for me, I patiently wait for Father to come back home, and then I'll ask him about it. Father spends day and night working at the prefecture, while Mother spends all the time in prayer. Is it not obvious? We've heard explosions from this gunpowder they seem to be using. What if the story of it exploded? Would that not cause something like this? It takes a full week for Father to finally come home, and he's almost completely spent. I muster enough courage during dinner to ask him what happened outside the city. Father raises his head, his face bleak, weary mask, and starts muttering his proclamation. It's almost as if he doesn't see me. It's a mine outside the city. They were trying to get to a vein of ore. There was an explosion, the mine caved in, and the black smoke started flowing. Many workers died there. It was all because Count El Valesco, who owns the mines, wanted them to start mining that vein before they were ready. Some of the workers weren't even reborn. The twins thought their final time had come. The prefecture has been inundated with complaints from families that have lost their breadwinners, asking the judges for help. Many people also lost their cattle in the black smoke. Count El Velasco blames gunpowder for the disaster. The prefecture and the newspapers just repeat whatever he says, but it's plain old greed and tyranny of noblemen that are to blame. And this is why lots cannot be the way of the twins. This, as it is now, must be changed. Why is the welfare of our province always paid with commoner lives? Then, without warning, it grows silent again. I keep thinking about it for days. Can a human life really end so easily? A single moment of bad luck and you die, only to re-emerge from the temple or the family crypt with a new black mark on your arm, or worse, you remain where you fell, dead, never to be reborn again. Ever. Peace is reduced to 7. Still at peace, or reduced, still at peace, but reduced, so it's only just there. The wealth is increased by 1 into affluence. Stefan's arrival. During lunch, Father tells me to stay home in the evening and prepare to meet some important guests. My elder brother Stefan will return home by dinner tonight. Joining him will be my grandfather Gregor Brante. Him. As well as a noble friend of the family. I'm excited about my brother's return. It has been years since I last saw him. How has he changed during his years away from home? My own father await the guests anxiously. The doorbell rings. 8 people are standing outside. Grandfather is first to come in. Naturally, he has not changed a bit since his last visit. He is still eyeing the house with contempt, looking for any reason to demean it. Grandfather is followed by a stately young man, in a jacket embroidered in silver, whom I barely recognise as my brother. Stefan casts a glance at my threadbare clothes, my dirty fingernails, and smirks. The last to enter the house is a personable gentleman with a worn-out, wrinkled face. I have heard a lot about this man from father and grandfather. He is Baron Augustin Elborn, Stefan's uncle, a family friend and the province's prefect, which means that he is the head judge and thus father superior. Sir Elborn smiles lightly and offers me his hand. And this must be your younger son, Yorkie, yes, he says. You have your father's eyes, young man. He seems a decent man, for a nobleman at least. Father bows slightly to grandfather and Sir Elborn, but there is a moment of quiet when Stefan's turn comes. Father reaches out to him awkwardly, expecting an embrace. There is a question in Stefan's eyes as he looks at grandfather. The old man shakes his head almost imperceptibly. We noblemen oughtn't to put our emotions on public display, father. Not even after a lengthy separation, says Stefan. There is no embrace. Indeed, Stefan nods to father curtly. He responds in kind, his face devoid of emotion. After the greeting, I proceed to the sitting room. Elborn is first to enter. He kisses mother's hand and Gloria's too, and tussles Nathan's hair after he sees him hiding by the table. Grandfather acknowledges them with a glum nod. Greetings, Lydia Brandt. I remember you were kind to me when I was but a child, and you must be Nathan. You could barely walk when I last saw you, says Stefan. My elder brother ignores Gloria completely, not even a greeting. He's no brother of mine anymore, not the way he behaves. I proceed to the dining room in a dignified manner and take my seats. The dishes smell delicious, but they are merely punctuating the overwhelming tension at the table. Elborn is the only one with a friendly smile on his face. The dinner is splendid, he says. Did you choose the dishes yourself, Lydia? You have a truly refined palate. It warms my heart to know Stefan spent his early years with you. Womanly care always does a child good, no matter the estate. My fork freezes in the air halfway to my mouth. I expect many things from a noble of the sword, but words of praise for a low-born woman are not one of them. I cast a glance at grandfather. He looks like he is about to choke on those words. It would do my grandson more good to stay at a boarding school among his equals, says grandfather. Please, Gregor, says Augustin Elborn. Parenting is no less important. Nothing can replace a mother's love. I cannot deny it. It saddens me greatly that my late sister could not be there to raise Stefan. But there is still a family for him, and he was surrounded by love. How could that be bad? And besides, his father was by his side all the while. A father's example is always the best. After all, Robert earned the judge's rank the same way you did. Your grandson will surely follow in your footsteps, and who knows, perhaps even the younger men of the Brante family will contribute to the... You clumsy low-born cretin, yells Gregor Brante. Everybody is startled by this sudden outburst. Grandfather's face turns red. He is glaring at a young lady servant holding a picture over a glass. Stefan is sitting right next to her, dabbing a napkin on a fresh stain on his jacket. Be gone this instant! The lady servant runs away, leaving the picture on a small table by the door. For a quiet moment, Elborn smiles again. It appears the servants have left us, yet dinner is far from over. Worry not, uncle, says Stefan. There are enough commoners at this table to keep us served with food and drink. Stefan glares at Gloria across the table. He's sitting right next to me. He shrinks down and hunches over under his gaze. Father furrows his brows. Mother covers her mouth with trembling hands. Grandfather sneers. Stefan's gaze does not move. The silence lasts far too long. Then she starts to rise from her chair. If the Brante gentleman so wishes... My hands clench into fists under the table. How can he bring himself to humiliate his own family, his own mother and sister like this? All Grandfather's doing, Stefan could not even bring himself to embrace Father without his permission. And yet they are noblemen, they have the right to act this way. If there is any way this dinner can become even more unbearable, I do not want to see it. A direct insult would be uncouth, not perhaps appropriate. I don't wish to act as if nothing has happened that would justify it. This would also justify it, but at least it would show solidarity with Gloria. I'm stuck between insulting him. If it said challenge, not insult, I would side with this. But no, I shall join Gloria. I deliberate for a moment, then take the napkin off my lap and rise to join Gloria. A moment later, I hear the sound of another chair moving. My mother joins me. The three of us now refill glasses, serve food, and clear away dirty dishes. But Elborn tries to make small talk with Father, but in vain, so he focuses his attention on Grandfather and Stefan. Grandfather is pleased to inform me of Stefan's achievements at the boarding school, especially his exemplary sword fighting skills. He constantly stresses the importance of my elder brother for the future of the family. I listen to him dispassionately as I continue serving new dishes to the table. As I wait for the nobleman's table, my sister and my mother never bump into each other. Our labour is impeccable. Grandfather could not have found fault with it even if he tried. My shoulders and back are aching, but being a manservant inside my own house hurts even more. When the guest finally leaves, Mother and Gloria embrace me with relief. I did not neglect my relatives and shared their humiliation, and the composure that I have shown gave me new strength. My relations with Gloria are up. My willpower is up to 20 now. And we move on to 1129, 11 years old. A dropped handkerchief. Hot, dry wind sweeps through the city from the barren lands around it. The noble residents of Anisot prefer to remain in their chambers, while the commoners huddle in tents or in the shade of the silver tree. I am on an errand right now. My father wrote a letter to a noble acquaintance, and I am to deliver it. Thomas, the boy down the street, is tagging along. The two of us are inseparable now. The errand is an easy one, so I decide to take this opportunity to loiter around the part of Anisot where the nobles live. So here I am, in the middle of the city square, resting on the ancient brickwork by the old fountain in the merciful shade of the gargantuan silver tree. Thomas is by my side, lazily slouching on the edge of a fountain's basin. It's a hard life for commoners like you and me, Thomas says. Either you break your back in a workshop day and night, hoping someone will buy your goods, someday. Or you become a manservant to some noble. You never get a chance to enjoy life. This is our lot. No, I would not be saying that. We work and endure and suffer, but Thomas waves your words away. Yeah, I know all that already. Mother keeps drilling that stuff into me, he says. We must be humble. Our strength is patience and persistence, so yeah, I say. But I want to make my fortune no matter what. So how ain't that living by my lot, I ask you? But the lot, they ain't easy. Let's take you, for example, Brante, your father's a nobleman. But even if that didn't make you one, just look at your hands. You never had to work as hard as me, but we have the same lot. So we're supposed to suffer the same. Or look at your father, he's a judge. He toils at the prefecture day and night, doing his judging, and he's a noble? I've never seen an Agnian work as hard as he does. I shrug. The Agnians are a different race. The books say they were born to rule over humans. They are never commoners, always always nobles of the sword by birth. They found the empire of subduing all human kingdoms on the continent. Humans will never be their equals. Agnians are always better, smarter, stronger, and their skin is a noble shade of blue. If the books are to be believed, of course. I've never seen one myself. Our idle chatter is suddenly interrupted by a rugged-looking guardsman dressed in black and green. He chases us away from the fountain. Common rabble like us have no place here. I hear the clattering of hooves and wheels against the cobblestones and see flags bearing a coat of arms. A sable serpent on a field of vert. It makes me squirm. It is the Archduke's coat of arms. A Milanides diary. The dynasty diary. The carriage door opens, revealing a young lady in a luxurious dress. I cannot look away from her. Those dainty shoulders suggested but not revealed by the cut of her dress. Her black hair cascading over them. A stately, slim silhouette. Her pouty lips and prim nose. And those eyes dark, like the night sky. The way she moves, fluidly, gracefully. And most incredible of all, her skin glows in azure blue. She is a masterpiece given life. She is an Agnian. The other way from me, she demands. The Milanides guardsmen work quickly to clear the way to the fountain for the Agnian lady. The searing sun dances on her skin in a bizarre pattern. With one elegant motion, she reveals a handkerchief, then leans over the basin and wipes her head and neck with its cool waters. Well, I'll be, says Thomas. That's Octavia Milanides, our Archduke's own daughter. The Agnian turns away and proceeds gracefully back to her carriage. I see something slip out of her hand and fall onto the cobblestones right next to me. A handkerchief. It's right there by my feet. Intricate craftsmanship, expensive woven fabric, delicately decorated with emerald filigree. My heart skips a beat. Will I dare draw the beautiful Agnian's attention in order to return a lost possession? Or would I rather have an attempt to cross the chasm between me and her? I could give it back. I could stash it, or I could keep it. Of course, it's her property. Why would I not give it back? It takes a moment to overcome my fear. I follow young Lady Milanides and call out in a nervous voice. She turns around, her beautiful face marred by a puzzled expression. I extend the dropped handkerchief towards her. Lady Octavia's face contorts into a sneer. She signs the guardsman indifferently. Guardman, gauntlet-clad hand slaps me in the face. It rings my head like a heavy bell. My nose cracks immediately under the staggering force. The rest of me follows suit and I fall prone. I can discern the guardsman's voice through the painful din in my ears. Did I take the handkerchief back, lady? Have the commoner's hands befouled it? She asks. Let him wipe himself with it for all I care. The carriage drives away. Thomas runs up to me and drags me back to the fountain. My head is still ringing from the blow. The fateful handkerchief is still crumpled in my hand. Octavia Milanides remembers me. My will reduced by 5. Matters of the heart. Met a girl. First romantic feelings. And then we move on to 1130. And year 12. The 12 years old. Year 1130, spring. The quorum decree. 12 years old now, I overhear an important conversation. It's a spring night and Mother has just sent everyone to bed. I walk past Father's study and hear voices coming from behind the door. Grandfather is yelling and Father is replying quietly. The elder Brante men are fighting, arguing about the place of the commoners in the city. I sneak outside to avoid Mother's attention and hide next to the open window of the study. Perhaps they'll mention me too. That low-life idiot had the gall to pay me a visit and beg me for some service, says my grandfather. He had the insolence to ask me outright. He thought I was going to support his claim for the chairman's seat on the lesser quorum. How dare he? Father, says my own father, please listen. Mayor Egmont may be low-born, but he carries a lot of clout in Magra. He owns 5 iron mines. A friend like him could be quite useful, should he become the chairman of the lesser quorum. I don't give a damn who this Egmont is, Robert, says grandfather. What he is, however, is low-born. His lot is humility and obedience. The likes of him can never rule anything. They're nothing but a flock of sheep that need a firm, noble hand to guide them. I wasted so many years trying to quash the quorum decree, but that accursed Cornelius Tempest did everything in his power to make the Emperor sign that pathetic screed. And now, even lowlifes can wield power. True power, Robert. Just the right to discuss the size of the Archduke's tax, says Father, nothing more. That is only the beginning. What's next? Are they going to arm the lowlifes now? Make them into judges? If the Empire rejects the foundations and the lots, the entire edifice will crumble. Bah, who am I telling this to? It is already crumbling, and you, my son and heir, are a harbinger of its destruction. Father, I'm begging you, says my own father. I do not wish to marry a third time. Lydia is a good wife and a dutiful mother to my children. You would only allow her to... I will allow them nothing, snarls grandfather. Neither Egmont nor that freeloading wench of yours. What will you want me to do next? Live by the laws of the lowborn? I can already see where this is going, and I'd rather run my own sword through my gut than live in a country where nobles and lowlife share the same right. Feel free, grandfather. There'd be no loss. My only dream is to see the name of Brante in the Blue Book. That dream will never come true. They will never call me Venerable Earl Brante. And it's all because of this marriage of yours. My only hope now is to hear Stefan addressed in such a manner one day. Thank the twins I didn't let you ruin the boy. He's about to grow up to a true nobleman. His children will bear the name of Earl Brante. You have 2 more grandsons, says father. Those spineless milksops from the common lot. They're incapable of anything, said grandfather. The best your middle son could do is sneak into the Imperial College and get ennobled by the mantle, although I have great doubts about even that. As for the downtrodden Nathan, I hold no hope for him whatsoever. I hear grandfather's heavy footsteps, the thudding of his cane, and the slamming of the door. Time to sneak back home before I'm discovered. That's gone up to -3, the overseer in power. Alright, the current balance of power in Magra. Moving towards the peasants taking over the commoners. School year begins. Year 1130. I started studying at the school of Sibsibor and began to master the sciences. Storm of expectations. This is where we will pick up next time. Join me then. Very well.